Take Dad's truck to prom. It's Friday nights under the lights of a hometown football field. Eustace Body Shop knows small towns. It's where our values are rooted. We treat our people right, and in turn, they treat you, our customer, right. And we give back to our communities. Not much more small town than that. Eustace Body Shop, small town service, big city technology.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
This is On the Block with Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer, Jay Foreman. Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
That it is. Welcome in another edition of On the Block. I'm Austin Orman, live with you here at 1040 O Street in Lincoln, joined on the stream by my partner, Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, E-Strike. What's good, partner?
All is well in the hood, where I live, right in the middle.
Oh, I don't. You still know me, right?
All the trouble. Yeah, you do know. You've been
no.
You've been to my little humble abode.
I have not.
My humble abode. It looks like if you ever watch Coming to America, when Eddie Murphy steps out and he says, "Good day, my neighbors," and there's a bunch of people. Yeah, that's kind of the. There's a lot of bad words that were said. That's kind of the neighborhood I live in. That's why you didn't come. See, that's really why you didn't come, because you so bougie. You like all the, glitz and the glamour. You got to walk in. It's got to be a yellow big brick road with the big castle and the Oz man sitting behind the curtain. That's how you like it.
It might be how I like it, but I also never got the invite. Both things can be true at the same time. Both things can be true, but that's all right. We'll let bygones be bygones. Welcome into the show, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Special ingredient butcher shop, 3 Lincoln locations and 1 up in Omaha for you.
Every kind of cut.
Every kind of cut.
Every kind of meat.
Every type of meat. You name it, They got it at the Mercado. 402-464-5685 if you've got any thoughts during this quick hour here. John and Cortland, Robbie and Iowa, appreciate you guys tuning in here. Stricky, speaking
real quick before you go, man, shut up. Listen, tomorrow, stay tuned. We'll say it again before the end of this hour. We're going to have a special guest joining us at 3:30 tomorrow. Chris Crutchfield, Omaha, University of Omaha coach, will be joining us. Just kind of talk about, where he fits in the scheme of everything. Losing 2 players in the transfer portal, that's nothing new for a lot of teams. Especially Kansas. But nonetheless, he's got a couple, and it's 2 of his better players, and that happened the year before. But to be able to put out good product, lose, couple of your top guys, especially one of them, to Michigan State with Frankie Fiddler, your top scorer, and then to still be able to. I'm not going to say there's a science to it, but we're gonna dig into it. We're gonna talk to Crutch about it tomorrow. So we'll share it again by the end, so that way those who are listening that did not get a chance to get here right away will also hear it.
Absolutely, and to not just have a good season, but a school record, a historic sort of season, despite all of that. And Stricky, it's funny you bring up Coming to America. The sequel, the remake, number 2, was one of the movies I was really close to watching on my flight, but I decided against it. I didn't go with it. So it's funny that we were very close to having that little connection there.
Yeah.
But speaking of having a connection, Stricky, Nebraska men's basketball strikes again in the transfer portal. A very familiar name, a guy who was here in Lincoln, departed for a year, and then came back. Yes, it is true. Nebraska and Jamarques Lawrence made nice. They made up. Jamarques Lawrence will be a Husker once again. Your reaction to that news?
Well, here's the thing. There's a couple of conversations that I had a little bit earlier today, and here's what I'll say. And again, this is no slight to either person, either the university nor Jamarques, but it's one thing to say, because I think there's a bigger discussion here regarding the transfer portal and how that all works, not even in NIL. And it could be NIL that plays into part of this discussion, and that's the grass is not always greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the grass just needs to be watered and nurtured where you're at to make it green. You feel me?
I feel you.
That thing will preach. So listen, man, that's what when I look at this, I look at someone who was an integral part in a successful team getting to the NCAA tournament. You were part of the rotation. You averaged over 23 minutes a game. So it wasn't that you were just kind of sitting there. And a lot of that stemmed on how you played. If you came out and you played terrible, you probably sat a little bit more in that game. But they definitely wanted to use you. And you start kind of smelling yourself. And this is part of that thing where I talk about, sometimes it's good to stay. You have to look at the big picture. The bigger, the broader picture is this. Keisei Tamanaga was leaving. Who else? Who else left from that team? It was Keisei.
Well, CJ transferred.
CJ transferred to Texas A&M. Good for him, because that worked out for him, being a shooter. Probably didn't know how he would fit. But out of everybody that left, Jamarques probably had the best option of knowing he was going to be able to play. One, Wooster was coming in. Ulis hadn't played. You already were ahead of both of those guys. I think you play better defense. I think you're a better push prober. I think you even can shoot the ball better, and you can look at his stats and show that. I think he shot almost 39% this year. Mm-hmm. So all of those things you did better than anybody that you had to consider that they were going to be bringing in, but yet you decided to go and jump. What did you jump to? You jumped to basically, for the most part, a little bit more minutes. You jumped to a team in a really a way weaker conference of the A10, and you're in the middle of that A10. And then as you're sitting there, you're watching that, you're seeing everything that you're doing. Yes, okay, I'm getting more minutes, but I'm still the fourth option on a mediocre conference bad team, right? And so then you start to look and you're like, golly, look what I'm missing. Look what they had missing. Look what I could have done if I would have been there to help that team get back to where it was supposed to be. And that's when you make the decision. So you can look at all these different parts of it. I want to be closer to home. I want to, I want my turn to shine in the spotlight. Oh, they're trying to replace me. You start getting in your feelings instead of that. And that's what I don't like about the transfer portal. I think I sent you something where a guy was talking about beware of the transfer portal. And if I didn't, I'm going to send it to you, because I think we may need to even just one segment play that if we could. And because that young man got in the transfer portal, Austin, found out it wasn't greener on the other side. And, now you missed out on an opportunity, but it's good. It's fortunate that he had a good relationship. He didn't leave on bad terms, and he's able to come back and join the Nebraska team where there is a need and there's a void in that position.
That's the biggest part to me, Strick, is that it does seem like it was on good terms, and that's why Jamarques Lawrence is back in Lincoln. OGCJ says, just needed a little water and fertilizer to get that green. Welcome back, Jamarques Lawrence. And Brad asks, is Nebraska that desperate? I don't think so. I think that's a bad way to look at this. I do think it's Jamarques Lawrence realizing exactly what you said. Hey, grass isn't always greener. I was a key rotational piece for an NCAA tournament team in the Big Ten. That was better than what it was I discovered at Rhode Island. And his numbers, for the most part, improved or stayed steady at Rhode Island. But I do think that Jamarques Lawrence is, or maybe not himself specifically, but a player like him is the type of guy that Nebraska was missing. I mean, he's a good guy, to have shooting the basketball. Like you said, he's fast in transition, capable defender, not a lockdown guy, but he won't get you killed at the point of attack. And that the athleticism, the shooting, the ball handling is something that Nebraska really needed. But the other part, Strick, and this is what I'm really curious to monitor with him going forward at Nebraska, part of the reason he left is that Nebraska needed him to be a point guard. And that's not what Jamarques felt that he was. If you look at, according to Ken Pomeroy, Rhode Island's most frequent lineups, Jamarques Lawrence only played shooting guard. In their most frequent lineups over the last 5 games for them, and even throughout the season, I mean, Jamarques Lawrence took 69% of the shooting guard minutes. He's not even listed as a backup option or ball handler at the point guard position, which isn't to say he didn't bring it up from time to time or didn't handle, but that was probably the biggest reason that Jamarques Lawrence left, right? He wanted a bigger role, and he wanted his role. He wanted to be a shooting guard, not a point guard. And if that's still the case, I'm a little suspicious of the fit, because Nebraska needs that lead ball handler, right? Nebraska needs that guy to initiate offense. Nebraska needs that guy late shot clock. And we know Nebraska doesn't love, traditional positional designations, right? They like some of that positionless stuff. They like guys that can play multiple spots. But I hope that they were honest with Jamarques Lawrence, and I hope he knows what he's getting himself into, in that Nebraska needs him to play on the ball quite a bit. He's going to run some point for Nebraska. He's going to have to. He wasn't very consistent with it, and we talked about this a lot a couple of years ago, Stricky. When Nebraska asked him to be a point guard, he wasn't as sure of himself, right? He passed up some shots. It wasn't going so well. Maybe it was just a mental block for him. But I'm curious to see how Nebraska and Jamarques Lawrence handle that, because I think Nebraska needs the ball handling that Jamarques Lawrence is going to bring them. But how do they convince him that they need him as a player and everything he brings to the table without putting him back into that mental place of, you're the point guard, you have to do X, Y, Z, making sure he's free to be the best version of himself for them?
Well, again, I would have done this before he left, but and I wish I had people in my corner that would have done the same. The thing is that let me just first preface it by saying I was so unselfish, Austin, that to me, I was just going to do what was best for the team so that we could have success. So I was going to play whatever position. I was going to guard whoever I needed to guard. I was going to play wherever you needed me to play. And had I had someone in my corner to help me to understand the long term, to sit down and do what I would have done with Jamarques, I would have sat down and asked him very important questions. Who do you want to be? Where do you want to play? And how do you think you're going to get there by being where you are? You know what I'm saying? And depending on how he answered those questions to me would determine then how I would have felt about him leaving, or the discussion I would have then had with him about why it's important that he embrace what I'm trying to show him. Not only if I'm Fred, and I'm not, but if I was him or somehow connected to him, if I was a part of the program, that because I could speak from a similar voice that Fred could, I would have said something like this: listen, if the answer is yes to those questions, you need to play the point guard, and you need to learn to play it, and you need to learn to play it well. You're not going to go into the NBA if that's your goal
shooting guard.
and play shooting guard. No. You're not even going to go overseas. You might depending on the team and depending on the level, would determine whether or not you would play shooting guard. You're not physical enough, athletic enough, and you don't shoot at an over 40% clip. Like if you're at his size, you need to be shooting almost 45%.
If you want to be,
what I mean? If you want to be a 2, like you need to be up there. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're good at the point guard position for shooting the way that you're shooting, but then you just need to learn how to handle, distribute, and run a team. And those are the discussions I would have had with him, which could have possibly eased some of that tension about him desiring and wanting to go over there. But sometimes people's egos, and sometimes you can't overtalk that because their egos may exceed what the discussion really is and the truth of the matter. And that's what it seems like happened. But it looks like there was a definite buyer's remorse, a look back, a wonder, what if, what could have been, why did I give up? Because now they haven't seen you in another year. You're going to kind of have to come in and earn it again. So there's no guarantee about you coming back and it's just going to be all hunky-dory and gravy. There might be somebody else that come in. It might be somebody else that step. Cale Jacobson may say, too late, my brother. You know what I mean? You missed it.
Yeah.
I'm stepping in now. You know what I mean? And may be confident enough. The team feels confident about him, about the way that he played. So there's nothing certain for you. You're a 1 year, what do they call those in the music industries? A one-hit wonder. You're a 1 year wonder. So ain't no telling what's going to happen. You missed those extra opportunities to be able to solidify yourself in the position.
Let's go ahead and hit the text line here, 402-464-5685. Virginia Pirate says, aren't you guys kind of assuming his role today? They still have guys to add. And that's true. Nebraska will still most likely end up with a couple more players out of the transfer portal. And we don't know if anyone else is leaving. We know Gavin Griffiths is out the door. As of now, that's the only announced departure. But we do assume his role because we've seen what it is. Let's just play a hypothetical game here, Strick. A hypothetical starting lineup for Nebraska next year. Sam Hoiberg, Jamarques Lawrence, Price Sanford, Berke Boyutengel, Rink Mast. That's believable. Is that Nebraska's best 5? I don't know, right? Berke's got a lot of work to do to earn that 4 spot back. Another potential option would be Hoiberg, Lawrence, Esigen, Sanford at the 4, and then Rink Mast at the 5. I don't think Sanford's a 4. I think he's a 3. I don't think he's good enough defensively. I don't think he's big enough. And we know that Nebraska has tended to prefer, to play these 2 big men together. So really, I think you're looking at 2 guard spots that are up for grabs for the starters. And then it comes down to Sam Hoiberg, who's been around, who has, kind of sparked Nebraska, especially defensively, and who on the roster next year right now, Strick, looks like the best guard defender, right? Nebraska doesn't have a lot in the way of defense left on the roster right now. So Sam, that's his advantage. Connor Esigen has been around, played better down the stretch, certainly helped Nebraska win the college basketball crown, has some development to do to expand his offensive game, but you pretty much know what he is and what he can do, at least as a baseline. Cale Jacobson, is going to Cale Jacobson. We know what Nebraska likes about him. We know that they've been a fan of his game. He got his opportunity. He ran with it. He maximized it. Nick Janowski, as long as he's still on the roster, certainly going to have a role to play. That was a highly touted guy who got some rave reviews on Scout Team. And then Jamarques Lawrence. That's 5 guys for presumably 2 starting spots, unless Nebraska wants to go super small and blitz teams offensively. So, yeah, we are kind of assuming Jamarques' role because they still need that guy to initiate offense, and they don't necessarily have room or the desire to play 3 guards at a time. At least to start 3 guards at a time. It's still an uphill climb for Jamarques, even though he's familiar.
Gotcha. That's why it says, look, bruh. For me, I knew if I transferred, I don't have no problem because I don't care about competition. I'm willing to embrace it. Not everybody has that. And if you're somewhere, and let's just take it off basketball, let's put it on football. You're somewhere where the coach knows you, he knows your technique, he knows your growth, he knows your strength, and that you lost weight, he knows your work ethic. He knows a lot of things that he knows about you. And you were behind the starting guard, receiver, whoever, right? You were behind him. And let me say this. Shout out to Emmett Johnson. Because in every turn, they try to put someone else in there.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'm embracing it. Every time I touch this ball, I'm going to show you why you want me there. You know, Dowdell comes in, takes, right? Could have been frustrated, could have been upset, could have bounced. All of that. Stayed the course. Got in the portal, created leverage because he realized with the new addition that it was open season.
Mm-hmm.
And no one really had a lock on it. Let me see what they're trying to do. Oh, they're going to use me in a versatile role out of the backfield. That's me. I'm staying here, and I'm going to work my tail off, and I'm going to earn my spot, and I'm going to take control of it. I think that's what he did. When you leave, you lose that.
Yeah,
Austin, you lose that because now you've got to go. Yes, they've seen you on film. Yes, they've seen you in high school. Yes, they even recruited you. But again, they've been building for a specific way, and they may like who they got, who they picked up. You may have been the archetype that they were looking for. They filled that void on that archetype, brought somebody else in, and now you still end up the fourth guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you were thinking you were going to come in there and be number 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they don't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're in the mafia, they're not gonna have you in the meeting, sitting down with them, having conversations, and they don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna give you the deep secrets, all of where the bodies are buried. They're not gonna tell all that with you there. They don't know you. That's the effect it has when you start bouncing around like what was that guy? Cubert. You bounce around. You don't know that game, Austin. You look too young.
I watched Wreck-It Ralph. I know Cubert.
You're bouncing around like little Cubert, man. Well, you can't do that, my boy.
You cannot. Well, let's keep it in the text line here. Virginia Pirate says, to me, I think Jamarques Lawrence is a primetime candidate to be your 6th man. Maybe on a really good team, Jamarques is the 6th man, but that's what it comes down to, Strick. Maybe it's Jamarques Lawrence versus Connor Essegian. I think Essegian's a little stretched as a starter right now, spot starter. I think Jamarques can give you more in the 2-guard position, potentially on both ends of the floor, more capable ball handler in that position as well. But let's not forget the fact that Jamarques Lawrence was demoted to 6th man was part of why he left. Jamarques Lawrence was the one that got benched for Josiah Allick when Nebraska made that shift to starting 2 big guys together. So unless his mindset has changed, he's cool with it, or he thinks he's earning the starting job there, I don't think Jamarques Lawrence comes back. So I just don't think Nebraska's roster is in a place where Jamarques Lawrence is the 6th man. Let's go to who texted this. It was Brad from Baldwin. With Gavin Griffiths transferring out, Stricky, why do you think Gavin Griffiths didn't work out for Nebraska this year?
Say that again.
Gavin Griffiths, why didn't it work for him in Nebraska?
I can't say for sure, but to me, whenever Gavin was out there, he just seemed to be out there. You know, like I would have been taking advantage of my size and running like a gazelle and getting to a spot and running for layup. Like I would have been doing all of the unusual things that nobody thought. Because one, you're not a guy that's going to be able to create. You're very linky. You play very tall, so you're not going to be able to turn corners and dip shoulders to get by somebody, raise up, punch on somebody. You're very super perimeter dominated, right? On a team, Austin, that can't create space.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you just unfortunately landed in a situation that you can't get it on your own because you don't handle very well. He handles, but he don't handle like with a, with like it's on a string. You don't handle like that. You don't handle like Ace Bailey or somebody like that. Like you're enough to go 2 dribbles to whatever side, crossover, maybe get to something. But that's not what that offense is set up for. And you can't create that space. You can't post up because you're very slim reaper. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So you didn't have anything that gave you an advantage to be able to be useful. And so once you miss a couple, you lose a little bit of confidence. your energy drops. You're not giving the same effort, whether it be in practice. Your body language shows it. And I'd much rather go with somebody that I know is going to give me what I need while I was out there, because that 5 possessions, those 10 possessions that you're going to get while you're out there, what is it going to give me?
No, I think that's spot on. I think that Price Sanford probably took his spot on the roster because Gavin Griffiths just looked lost at most times this year, right? Early on, when he needed to make a good first impression, it looked like it was all a lot for him to take in. Didn't really know the spots. It was, like you said, just kind of floating out there, not confident. There's one game he passed up a wide open 3, and I think another layup that he never even, looked at the hoop for. He was not a confident basketball player this last year, and I think he was really trying hard to fit in and figure things out in terms of the scheme and what was being asked of him, and I don't think he ever really got to that point. So wish him the best wherever he comes from. John in Cortland says, let Sam Hoiberg run the show. That's the best possible option. This is not a knock on Sam, who we gave flowers to, good basketball player. But Stricky, if Nebraska opens the year with Sam Hoiberg as its point guard, it has to have guys that are really good off the bounce around him, right? Because if Sam Hoiberg is the guy that's responsible for getting Nebraska paint touches, okay, maybe he can do that. But Sam also ran a 25% turnover rate on sub 10% usage, right? Sam's going to play the one when he's on the court. At least that's what he's going to defend. But if Sam Hoiberg is Nebraska's lead initiator on offense, even with Rink Mass back, I don't know if that bodes well for Nebraska.
No, I'm not gonna agree with that. That's your opinion. I'm actually impressed with his growth. Now, especially defensively, unless you have somebody that's gonna come in and play with that higher level defense, you look at everything that he was able to provide for you in the Crown, even in Big Ten play, even in minutes where you don't see. The thing about Sam is it doesn't always show up on the stat sheet the way that you might want it to show up, right? And like super point guards that can get space, create their own shot, they're not looking for Nebraska. Unfortunately, they're not. Mm-hmm. Unless you're going to pay a big bag. Are you going to pay a Nigel Pack bag? Is he the guy that you would like to pack from Miami? Are you going to pay that kind of bag to bring? No, because to me, I still think he's just all right. I thought he does some good things. I think he can create, do a lot of that stuff. But at the same time, I'm not paying that kind of bag. So if you're not going to be able to get that, somebody like him in the Big Ten, I think is okay. As long as you've identified the way that you're going to play. If you're going to continue to play that style, it's built for the archetype the way it is. Mm-hmm. You just need somebody. It doesn't have to be the point guard, but you would like it to be. But you need somebody, Austin, that's going to be able to, when it's needed and necessary, to be able to break down, create space, and make sure we get a good shot, I get a good shot, or I get to the free throw line.
Absolutely.
Because you see there's defensive out there like what we watched against Florida and Houston. Like that was just a defensive juggernaut game, especially when Houston had it going. Like you're going to face teams like that. And if you're just going to run that, guess what they're going to do? You got 5 guys, all of them can switch. You're not getting nothing. So what do you need in that situation? You need either sets or you need somebody that can break down the defense and get you a good shot.
Or hit a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah.
A few more things on the text line here in just the next couple minutes before we take a break. 2858 says, what about the kid from Central Michigan? Is he a starter? We didn't talk about that yesterday, but Uknius Jerusalevicius is in. That was an all-MAC first-team player, Strick. He played some center for Central Michigan. His numbers are pretty good. I mean, average 16 and 7 on 54% shooting in about 27 minutes per game. 72% free throw shooter. But Strick, this is an interesting one because this is a guy that doesn't really facilitate at all. So I wonder if this is, if Nebraska went and got him as a pretty much a true scoring big man, if he's the backup center behind Rink Mast, or if he's competition for Berke Boiktangel at the 4, or does that push Rink Mast to the 4 and start this guy at the 5? Because I don't know what he brings to the table in terms of his skill level on the perimeter. In still a perimeter-oriented system for Nebraska, I'm curious to see how he fits into the ecosystem. And I think that plays into this, Strick. Here, Byron the Hog Farmer says, Nebraska needs athletes to fill its last couple spots. The team is lacking athleticism. Across the board, probably fair. And again, we've been asking for that for a couple years, right? You got to get faster. You got to get a little bit bouncier, because the same guys, Stricky, same caliber, same type of guys are still giving Nebraska problems, right? But athleticism isn't cheap either.
Yeah, I mean, and that was what my worry was, because when I looked at Gavin and Asian and everybody that they brought in, I'm like, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really a matter of who's going to ascend.
Yeah,
who's gonna create space for their usage to continue to go up. And to me, it looked like Fred gave them all a shot at Austin. Like, throughout the early part of the year, in whatever way it was, he looked like he was really trying to figure out who that was going to be. Once he did, stuff got cut.
Mm-hmm. Which is how it works. That's the nature of rotation. It's going to be that way pretty much every year. We'll step aside. We'll take our first break of the show. I'll respond to some more of you guys' texts on the text line during our break. He's Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Norman. More on the block in just a moment.
Follow Austin Strick and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village, or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Early break.
How to present the card.
Present your credit card or your debit card. And you're presenting generally
At first,
debit.
when you said that, I thought you were talking about your business card. And I go, but you're giving them your business card. Thank you. And I'm Steve Sipple from On3. And if you need to log in, do that.
You will get an occasional
like
with Steve Sipple, Jake Sorensen, and Bill Bush from 6 to 9 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Let's keep talking hoops, but let's shift our focus to the association. This segment brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Check them out online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Free estimates, lifetime warranty on everything, local crew, all vinyl, triple pane windows, all that good stuff. You can learn more at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Stricky, another bombshell coaching move in the NBA. The Denver Nuggets fire their franchise's all-time wins leader as head coach Mike Malone, just a few years removed from winning an NBA title. Also out the door, general manager Calvin Booth. This is with about 3-4 games left in the regular season. Denver makes the move to move on from Mike Malone. And this was a little bit of a surprising move that happened right now. People have been mentioning the possibility that Mike Malone could be gone at the end of the year. But Denver makes this move with just a few games remaining in the regular season. This comes just about a week or two after Memphis fires Taylor Jenkins as head coach. Stricky, your reaction to the Denver Nuggets releasing all-time wins leader Mike Malone from their franchise?
Okay. So there was a few things. One, there was some things that Calvin Booth said after the championship. And I wish I had the exact quote, and I was really trying to find it. But in essence, in a nutshell, he was talking about the team winning, and it wasn't about winning back-to-back or going. It was about the future, and then all of a sudden you let all the guys run out the door, and you throw a bunch of guys and just think that Jokic is just going to, do it all on his own, right? He did that. Malone, unfortunately, kind of got caught in that kind of whirlwind or tornado of that thought, that mental frame. Mm-hmm. And it looked to me as if the team was starting to falter and fail. And when that happens, it's something to do with the loss of the voice. And we've talked about it here where you have, when I talk about loss of the voice, it's no different than when your parents used to tell you something when you were little and you'd be like, oh, mom, whatever, pops, he don't know, he old head. And then your best friend or your cousin or a neighbor's dad down the street is talking to their son and you happen to be there and he's talking about the same thing. And you're just like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. And your dad just said the same thing down the road. And that's what I'm saying when you lose the voice. There comes a period, and there can be frustration, not necessarily with Malone, but up top, which then trickles to Malone because he got caught up in it somehow, and I'm not saying that that's the case, but to me, it's weird. It's wild. Again, before the season, you could have easily waited that out. But so that tells me it seems to be a loss of voice, a loss of when you're in that locker room, an attentiveness, a loss of when you're on that practice court or on that shoot around, there's a loss of attention to detail. Or when you're talking to somebody, they're not looking at you with intent and they're like, oh, okay. They're like, they do it, but they're kind of just like, you're talking to them. They're just, you got this kind of, if you're listening online, you can't see. That's why sometimes it's good to see the body language, and you could get on, the ticketfm.com app or the ticketfm.com, or you can get on the Ticket FM app, or you can watch us on all the streams because you can see what I'm saying. I can't really describe that look that I'm getting right now.
Well, I'm sure all the parents that are listening know the exact look, right? Kids looking at their phone, half paying attention to you, looking somewhere else, hearing you, but not listening to what you have to say.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because this is a guy that had a little bit of a rocky run in Sacramento. They let him go. And then the Nuggets clear their preseason over-under, win projection from Vegas every year until this one. Like Mike Malone was a fantastic coach. He got the most out of Jokic, developed him into arguably the best player in the NBA, probably the best player in the NBA. Won Denver's first title for a franchise that a lot of people assumed was cursed, that it wouldn't find a way to win one. But Strick, I do wonder if there's some element of ownership, being cheap that led to this and Mike Malone's frustration, or because Calvin Booth was fired too, same day, pretty much same move, the GM. I wonder if ownership got tired of those two fighting, where Calvin Booth was not happy with Mike Malone for kind of calling him out for not upgrading the roster, and Mike Malone not getting the most out of this roster. But Mike Malone was probably upset with Calvin Booth, right, for not spending some more money to retain really just a few key guys. Strick, after the championship run, it was Bruce Brown who ended up going to, was that like Toronto or Indiana, and then got traded to one or the other. Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff, they didn't bring back for his role that he played. And then the big one that we've talked about quite a bit, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope signs with Orlando over this offseason when he was a kind of hand-in-glove fit for the way that Denver wanted to play. So, sure, but one disappointing year out of really 10 for Mike Malone, they pull the trigger on him. That's kind of crazy. That's one that I would tell the players, hey, this dude is a legend in our franchise. He's really good. It's going to be hard to get better than Mike Malone out on the open market as a head coach. And that leads me to this, Stricky. What did Nikola Jokic know about this move? That's the superstar. That's the face of the franchise. Matt Moore, who's based in Denver, I think, hosts Locked On Nuggets and whatnot. He says Nikola Jokic was informed of the decision earlier today before it was announced. Jokic had not requested a change in front office or coaching, though his evident frustration with this season played a part in ownership's decision-making process.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It definitely goes beyond Jokic, because Jokic is a no-nonsense guy. He just wants the ship to run in optimal efficiency, right?
Just let him play basketball. And
He just wants to ship, and he wants you to surround him with those based off his gifts and what he does well for the team. He don't really care who it is. Just you know what it is I like. You know what I need. And just know that I'm going home to get on my racehorses and in my bug and carriage. That's what I'm going to do afterwards. I'm piecing you out. I'm going to let y'all handle that, and I'll come back and do me when I get back. That's Jokic, right? Mm-hmm. But here, I want to step a little bit further. Here's why I say that. You have situations where teams get a stain. Have you ever had like a coffee stain in the middle of the day when you know you can't get it out and it's just kind of stuck there on your shirt? Now, I've got black on, it's not going to show, but if I had a lighter color, yellow color, it's the worst thing, right? To have this stain just sitting right on your chest or your stomach or whatever, it's no bueno. I think they got a stain. I think they got a stain by what Booth said. I think they got a stain by who they let go. And that same stain resonated for a while because no one really wanted to go to Dallas after Dallas got that stain.
Right.
No one really wanted to go to Denver because they're kind of like, okay, if I come and I give my all, is that going to mean something? Dang, I really would love to play with Jokic. Like, people would go to Denver knowing that maybe this is good. I've got a year or two left. I can go there and I'm going to be able to eat. You know what I'm saying? So my contract, like, that's probably what people were going to go there and get. Long term, you're going to have a bunch of spotty stops. You're not going to really have long, because when you're a long-term looking player, you're looking to make Denver your home. You want to know that if I go there and I spend my love, my passion, my energy, my blood, my sweat, if I give you everything I got, that at least I know you're going to be with me and have my back. You can't really say that at Denver. Yeah, you can say that with Jokic. You can say that, can you really say that with Michael Porter Jr.? Can you really say that? Aaron Gordon, maybe?
But that guy's getting older than he is younger.
They're kind of starting to get shaky on Jamal Murray.
Oh, who they just signed for 4 years and $208 million.
Right. but their mental on it is still kind of shaky. Injuries are starting to pop up. He ain't starting to be more available. His game is starting to kind of teeter-totter. He don't look like he looked when he was in the bubble. That's kind of just one of those signees like, dang, he's the best guard we've got. He won us a championship. Oh, he showed and proved. Maybe he'll get back on it. You better hope so. And because you know that you're not a destination. You know that you're not going to be up because guess what I just said? Booth, Malone, all these things stain. You've got a stain on your program, so no one's really looking to get there. So you better keep who you got. There you go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to jump off on that because you're not a destination, but you haven't drafted well. Outside of Christian Brown, you don't really have reinforcements waiting in the wings. Oh, and Stricky.
Who's that guy they signed? They signed somebody, and he only plays like a few minutes, and they signed him for an extra contract, I think. They drafted him. I think they signed him, and they paid him like crazy amount of money, and he don't really play. I can't remember who he is. It might not even be them. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know exactly where we're going with that one, but outside of Christian Brown, they haven't really drafted any rotation players. Not like Christian Brown's a star. He's worth it for now, but he's not the next man up after, Murray gets officially washed. But here's this too, Stricky. The Nuggets only have one tradable draft pick and 3 first-round picks from now until 2030. Only 3 first-round picks between this draft and 2030 for a team that's in desperate need of talent and is not a destination, right? You don't have much to work with if you think you want to go sign another superstar, and you're not going to be able to draft that much because your pick's too good to get anyone.
Zeke Naji, my boy. You got a fumble, Stricky. You know what I'm talking about. Zeke Naji. They signed him and gave him all that money, and he don't even do nothing for him.
No.
He's garbage. Okay, and guess who did that? Booth. So you're right. They draft, but they draft terribly, and then they sign terribly, which is really Booth. And it's unfortunately Mike Malone got to stay. I'm sorry, I just had to say that because I knew I wasn't tripping.
You got there. We'll jump off on the Mike Malone aspect of this next. What's next for him? Will he be out of coaching for long? My guess is no. Where could Mike Malone land in an interesting trend for recent NBA champion head coaches? We'll wrap up on the block with that. Get you set up for Takedown Tuesdays.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Hey volleyball fans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Your new Total Wine in Lincoln has the largest selection of wines, spirits, and beers, plus totally low prices and friendly service from our helpful guides. With over 8,000 wines, 4,500 spirits, and 2,500 beers, you're sure to find your favorites and something new. You can even order delivery, in-store, or curbside pickup. Find what you love what you find, only at Total Wine and More. Now open in Lincoln next to Gateway Mall.
Drink responsibly, B21.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies and it will be breezy with the high around 64. Tonight, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly cloudy, a low around 45. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers, otherwise partly sunny and breezy with the high near 72. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call today at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Now back to On the Block with Eric Strickland, Jay Foreman, and Austin Orman.
Just a few minutes left here during On the Block. Austin Orman, Eric Strickland with you, brought to you now by Love Volleyball Omaha. Learn more about the team and their season today at lovboma.com. Well, Strick, let's talk about the Mike Malone aspect of this. That's a talented coach, a respected coach across the league for all the reasons we mentioned before. I can't imagine that he's going to be out of the league for long. Do you think Mike Malone's a guy that's going to go be an assistant somewhere for a couple years? Or do you think Mike Malone is a head coach again in the NBA within the next couple years?
Mike Malone's a good coach, so he'll definitely land. Good coaches aren't a dime a dozen in the NBA. And so, you know, if I was someone like San Antonio with a young squad and a squad who actually drafts really well, and the fight that you've been fighting up there in Denver, you probably wouldn't have the same fight in San Antonio because they're very frugal about their money, but yet they're willing to spend where they need to spend. And you've got an anomaly in the alien down there of Victor Wembanyama. So if I'm him, or agent, or if I'm San Antonio, I'm having a very good conversation with, Pop. Pop, what you thinking, man? 1 year, you're a legend. You're a Hall of Famer. You know, we love you. You're forever. You know, you could be Jerry West status. Have a seat in a chair anywhere in the building you want. But at the end of the day, this coach right here, we want to try to bring him in. Now, the thing you would have with Pop is Pop's got a big tree. Pop has a big tree. You know, I don't know if he's been grooming somebody. So obviously that would be the discussion that would have to be had in the meantime, in between time.
I think it would be a fantastic hire for San Antonio.
Yeah.
Whether they have that conversation with Popovich and say, hey, we want you to focus on your health. Thank you for everything you've done. But for the good of the organization, now's the time. Right. You see it. You know, Mike Malone's a good coach. He's available. The coaches like this don't become available very often. we got to make this move. If Pop's not done coaching, maybe he works something out between Popovich and Malone to say, okay, hey, Mike Malone, Pop really wants to come back, give it one more run, maybe 2 more years, but you are our guy, right? Can you be on staff, be, the lead assistant on this staff? Is that enough to convince him? And this is a relationship, Strick, where I don't know if they've ever coached together, but a couple years ago on Zach Lowe's podcast, Mike Malone said that Greg Popovich was influential in Malone getting a job in Cleveland with Mike Brown and Danny Ferry back in the day. And then he said he was also instrumental in helping Malone get a job with Monty Williams in New Orleans. And Malone says, I would not have ever become a head coach in the NBA if it wasn't for Greg Popovich.
There
so
you
whether
go.
or not they've coached together, clearly there's a level of mutual respect there. But say Malone doesn't want to wait when Popovich comes back. Does Memphis take a chance on a guy like Malone? Would he fit that roster?
It's tough to say, man. But I want to. Here's the thing. His dad was a great coach. You understand? He passed away in 2023. I actually knew him. He was part of my training regiment when I was going through NBA retirement type stuff. Great guy. So because of the respect a lot of people have for Brendan, especially Pop, who was coaching around throughout the same tenure that Brendan was. And he might have even coached with Pop down in San Antonio. I can't remember for sure, but Brendan Malone not only opened the door, it gave him credibility for Mike, and that respect was carried over and lived up to. So I think that's good. I think that's good if that's the case, to be honest, to have that, mutual respect and honor between each other.
Last thing before we get out of here, turn it over to Takedown Tuesday, Stricky. 4 of the last 6 NBA coaches to win an NBA championship have now been fired. Nick Nurse fired by Toronto, Frank Vogel fired by the Lakers, Mike Budenholzer fired by the Milwaukee Bucks. Steve Kerr obviously still has his job. Mike Malone fired today, and then of course Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics just won the NBA title last year. He hasn't gone anywhere. But within 2 years, all those coaches have been fired, and now with Malone gone, only 3 coaches in the NBA have been hired before 2020. It's Kerr, it's Pop, and it's Spo. It's kind of crazy. The turnover in NBA coaching ranks is on another level right now. We're going to turn it over to Takedown Tuesdays. Antrell Taylor in the building. He'll chat with DP. Stricky, appreciate you jumping on, partner. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Mañana.
That's E-Strick.
Hey.
Wait, what you got?
Crutch is going to be here tomorrow, 3:30 tomorrow. Coach Crutchfield of Omaha, University of Omaha. Stay tuned.
Look forward to it. 3:30 tomorrow. Tune in. Don't miss it. He's Strick. I'm Austin. Been a great show. Don't go anywhere. Takedown Tuesdays, DP and Trell Taylor after this.
This is Lincoln's home for sports